Hello everybody. So I wanted to record a video about water actually. I've come across in the last couple of months a lot of really interesting information about the world's water. And I kind of wanted to share about what I've learned from other people and other sources, but also kind of the big idea that I've put this all together to become. First I want to say that I came across this video, and I kind of forgot who it was from, and I really wish I could reference it. I'll probably put it in the comment box. But this guy was talking about water, and he was talking about how all of our natural water on the planet, when it's in its rivers or in the oceans or in the lakes of the water, even swimming pools, water tends to take on the characteristics of what is around it. It's just part of its makeup. That's why, like, when you drink spring water, when you're on a hike on a mountain and you're drinking it from a running trickle of water, how it tastes almost like the nature that you're already in. It's part of its design and makeup to take on the natural things or even the unnatural things that are around it. When you're swimming in like a swimming pool and like city water, of course it's probably filled with chlorine and things like that that are very unnatural and bad for your body. But there's also pools that use it's like a salt solution instead of chlorine, which is a little bit more natural, so to speak, or they will call it more natural. But even though you're swimming in a more natural pool, it's still filled, if it's in a city at least, like an outdoor city saltwater pool, it will still feel kind of like you're swimming in this unnatural thing. And it's not just because it is unnatural and it's a concrete thing that they dug up in the middle of the city, but it's also because of how the water takes on the characteristics around it, and that's what it gives you. Well, as human beings, we are mostly made out of water. And we are all very, very close to water because of that. Wish I had better vocabulary. It's just like this thing that centers us all is water. You know, when we're very thirsty or hungry, or when you're feeling sick or anything, if you drink water, it will help you. And it doesn't really matter if you're getting your water from the tap or if you're getting your water from spring water or wherever. It will help your body. But there are better ways to drink your water. Anyways, this guy that I watched on YouTube, he was the one that talked about the characteristics of water and how water takes on the characteristics. And I guess I've always known that, but I've never really applied it to everything else I've known about water. And I really have been doing that a lot lately. He also was the guy that said that a really good way to purify your water is actually with just sunlight. Because water takes on its characteristics of its surrounding, it doesn't matter if you get spring water from the store, or if you have a filter in your sink, or if you don't have a filter, or if you're using well water, or if you're using city water, because your water is going to be stored no matter what, no matter where you're getting it, it's going to be stored for a long period of time. Which actually is like, I think it's like 4 hours or more time is when it starts to take on the characteristics of what it's around. So if it's stored in these metal or even plastic or PVC pipes or tubing or containers to store underground to store your water in, even if it's bottled water at the store that you buy that's been on the shelves for maybe months at a time in a grocery store, in a warehouse type of store, even in a home business store or some kind of thing, they're stored in plastic a lot of the times, and they're taking on the plastic elements of it being around it, which is very, very toxic to your body. These things, though, or I guess you can't really get away from it. It kind of gets depressing because you think, well, I can't really drink any water that isn't, bottled water I bought in a plastic bottle that's taken on a store's characteristics, or, metal, dark, dank pipes are being stored in these underground chambers that aren't natural. They're just these plastics or metals that we've created to hold this water, and who knows if it's been scrubbed out. And you know how water gets all slimy around like the cat or your dog's food dish if it's in there long enough. It's not just, or even in a pond, still water, what happens, is it's slimy on the outsides of the pond even. It's just really gross. So a really good way to get around this is actually to get some glass jars, and they do still sell some food in glass jars. You can even buy like expensive vodkas or good liquor in glass bottles, and I suggest that you save those and you save the tops to them because a lot of the time the tops um, will be made out of glass too. What would probably be best is if you could even get wine bottles because they have natural wooden screw tops or those little, we call it corks. Yeah, they have corks. And those are much natural than getting a metal lid or getting a plastic lid that's going to get into your water or your better water too. The best thing though is to put that water in these glass bottles and then just set these glass bottles somewhere where they get direct sunlight for 4 or more hours. I'm in an environment right now, like I'm in the city right now, unfortunately, but I can't really put my bottles of water outside, and I tried to actually, but all I have is either cement or grass. And the water will in fact taste like grass, even if it's in a sealed glass container sitting in your grass for 4 hours or more in the sunlight, it will taste like grass. Because like I said, it's taking on those characteristics. And you don't really want to set it on concrete either, because it'll take on the concrete. And that's probably even more disgusting than the grass. And actually the grass I personally didn't really mind the grass taste. But the best thing to do in like my situation is find a good window in your house with a curtain, and preferably maybe a window that doesn't face a bunch of streets and stuff, but maybe a high up window if you have one that the sun can shine into. I don't really have a good window in my house either, unfortunately, but I try the best I can. I don't mind my water tasting a little grassy. And pretty soon we're going to have a fence in our yard, so I'll be able to put it like in our backyard with the garden, and it'll be like in the garden, you know, like on some good dirt and grass and plants type of ground. Anyways, you leave it in the sun like that for 4 or more hours. Then you bring it inside and you drink it as soon as you can, because if you put it in your fridge is also not probably the best environment to be keeping. I mean, it's cold and it's dark, which is fine. But it's still going to take on the characteristics of everything that's in the fridge. So maybe you want your fridge to be clean. I personally would like to do this with my water for every day of water I have, and then to bring the water in, like get up with the sun, put it out, around noon, bring it back in, and just keep it on my table fresh in the center in a big old water pitcher, and have everybody drink from that and pour it into their cups to drink from that throughout the day. You might even, since it takes on the characteristics within 4 hours, or by 4 hours, you might even want to do several small glass containers and bring in one every couple of hours, and as soon as it's been a few hours, dispose of it or put it back outside, or whatever you need to do. But I've done this a couple of times, and it's amazing the difference in that water. You can feel it just traveling down your body and healing yourself from the inside. You feel much better. It makes you feel like you could drink so much more water than you already do, and it makes you feel like you could actually accomplish the whole 8 glasses of water a day and not feel like you drink too much water. But it also gives you so much better nutrition than the water does that you buy, that you get from your faucet, that you probably don't need as much of it, but you want more of it because your body's just craving it. So yeah, I just wanted to share that information about water with you, and I actually applied that the other week. Hold on a minute. I applied that the other week, actually, when I was out hiking, in the wintertime, actually, near the coast, and it's actually really pretty. We found blueberries that were still good, and I used to live up in Alaska, and I love it up there, but it's just so weird and different down here because there's not even snow on the ground. It's so strange. But finding blueberries in December is crazy. But we did. We found good to eat blueberries in December, and it's still chilly out, It's still like in the 40s, But Anyways, I was out hiking around and looking at the plants and how they were and how they were growing, and the moss was growing up these trees, and we were in the forest, and I had a lot of really interesting thoughts come to my head about how the water in the planet circulates and applying it to these other concepts I know about water. And I would like to share that with you. But I know that YouTube only allows you to upload kind of shorter videos, so I'm going to stop this one and make a part two. So, see you in a minute.